Hello everyone and welcome back to another Pony and Wolf Productions video. My name is as always visualbrony and today we are reading the story There's Something I Never Told You by DarthPinkie. This is for the first time a story that I read that has more down than upvotes. But I think, well, a lot of that might be because people think the story is a ripoff or whatever. He himself says it's a parody. I do not know the stories that he's parodying, but, well, let's give this author a chance, okay? So, as always, let's have a list of those amazing people who keep this channel alive with their amazing donations to enable us to pay our bills. And yes, there's my dear little Luna who's watching me and making sure that I am not saying anything bad about our feline overlord who we all love and cherish, right? Chapter 1. It was the first time they'd gotten to relax in a while. Twilight was considering dozing off on Twilight's apartment couch. The doctor almost having done so, his head leaned back against the cushion of the couch. In the silence, the doctor pulled his head up and looked at his companion. Twilight, there's something I need to tell you, he began. I haven't told anyone, not yet. I've tried, but haven't been able to. What is it? Twilight replied, looking up. He would have gotten that sentence out, but out of the corner of his eye he saw a flicker of movement in the window pane, and whipped his head over to see what it was. Rarity? There, in the window, the mare was glaring, and glaring hard. And she'd started to come in the window. They're here! The doctor and Twilight dived over the couch, leaning against the back of it as though it were a shield as a massive blue laser fired from the rarity. How did they find us? Twilight panicked. I don't know. You did remember to reset the anti-aliasing geometric shield processor, didn't you? Twilight paused for a moment before grinning sheepishly. Oops! Come on! Grabbing her hoof, the doctor bolted and they began to run down the halls of the apartment complex. Evil rarities were springing up left and right, popping up from around corners and floating in a surreal sort of way. Some were exploding, causing minor damage but startling the two running ponies. Some were shooting lasers from their horns, lasers that simply would not relent. Diving behind a twin pair of corners, the two pulled out their guns and began shooting at the rarities, managing to knock quite a few out. But still they kept on coming and neither of the ponies knew what to do. In trying to escape, running through the halls, Twilight even came across a very close call at one point, a rarity chasing her around a corner, where thankfully no other lane waiting and she could escape the pursuer with ease. They must have found a way through the Astral Rarity space hull! The doctor called, although he knew the suggestion was ridiculous on its own. The Astral Rarity space hull had its own anti-aliasing dual-core processor, running the motherboard on a different system than the internal hard drive engine. That makes perfect sense! Twilight returned in a mocking tone. She'd picked up on this fact as well, and also knew that the Astral Rarity space hull gave off such unique radiation that any rarities that approached it would be burned up on the spot. Perhaps the reversed polarity of the shields, he offered as Twilight fired her machine gun rapidly at the approaching adversaries. As they ran down a hall, firing their guns in an attempt to fight the incoming danger of laser shooting exploding rarities, they found the exit. But they could not leave now, for the rarities could follow them and wreak havoc in Ponyville. You have to leave! The doctor called, turning to punch a rarity in the face with his gun. Havoc rained down from all sides. The doctor knew he couldn't make it out of this alive, but hopefully he could give Twilight the fighting chance to stay alive. Socrates looked at Twilight expectantly. What about you? There's something I never told you. I was going to tell you before, but then we got interrupted. This was it. Here came the fact that could save their lives. What is it? Twilight asked frantically. She was expected something like, I'm really immortal and not just Time Pony immortal or Gallifrey can be brought back if I defeat all these rarities alone. To be honest, all of them were just stupid ideas and none of them were really good, but hey, at least she gave the effort. She tried, and therefore no one should judge her. Suddenly, the doctor whipped off his sunglasses, which, yes, were most definitely there from the beginning of this fic, and you're just delusional because this is all a dream inside a really tasty cake. He gave Twilight the most serious look he could. I'm a bomb! Twilight's face was filled with pure and utter shock. Now go! The mare obeyed, running out of the door and into the parking lot, or whatever it is ponies have, watching the horror from the outside. Inside, the doctor turned to the incoming rarities, of which there were now well over 40 approaching menacingly. He couldn't let them get to the door, though. Fight me, you buggers! In an instant, he exploded, and Twilight could see the devastation from the outside. Sheer devastation washed over her. There was no way he made it out alive. But at least all of those rarities were dead. But there was so much she'd meant to say to him. He was important, not only to her but to the rest of the universe as well. There was no way she could take on his universally wayfaring ways and save the universe time and time again. She knew the planet would soon collapse due to his absence. Discord would probably take over again, forcefully ejecting the princesses from office. And he would succeed, because there would be no doctor to stop him. The elements of harmony weren't actually the saviors of Ponyville. Instead, the doctor saved the country and let the others take the credit. This is a well-known fact, especially among the chattering orders of St. Burial, who, despite the front they put on, actually followed the doctor and his exploits quite religiously. They only talked so much because actually they just felt like it. Very quietly, Twilight sadly said what she'd meant to tell him as a single dramatic tear rolled down her face. I'm pregnant. Oh, and also Socrates was there the whole time and was mentioned multiple times, and he was in secret in cahoots with the doctor. 'Cause, spoiler alert, Socrates was actually the bomb.
Once again it is time for comment time with me, Luna, the comment kitty. Please remember that the links down in the description help support Pony and Wolf Productions and enable my humans to buy me awesome snacks and toys. Oh, and sometimes some food for them as well, but only after I've had my fill. So, what do I think of this story? I find this story very weird and think that there is a lot of context that I am simply missing by it being a parody, or is that just me? My male human also thinks so. What about you? The idea of interdimensional rarities that explode and shoot lasers is kind of awesome, but otherwise it seems a bit too random. That said, now go away, I wanna take a nap.